Have you thought about it?
Dad, I already told you. I don't want to marry Peyton. This isn't a request, son.
Marriage is happening now, without love in it.
Brayden Cole did not want this marriage. Nobody had asked him, and by the time he found out, it was already too late to say no. Have you thought about it? His father asked, not looking up from his plate. Dad, I already told you. I don't want to marry Peyton. Mr. Cole set down his fork. His hand was shaking, just a little. Brayden didn't notice it yet. Nobody did. This isn't a request, son. It's happening. Peyton's father can save this company. Our name. Everything we built. The wedding is in 6 months. Brayden pushed his chair back so hard it screeched across the floor. I don't love her. I love her like a sister. That's it. His father didn't answer. He just poured another glass of wine and said nothing at all, which was somehow worse. That night, Brayden called his best friend, Trevor. Bro, pick you up in 10, Trevor said. You sound like you need to punch something. At the bar, Trevor laughed at him. Peyton is literally every guy's dream girl. Smart, rich, gorgeous. And you're out here looking like someone just told you your dog died. I've known her since we were kids, man. I've tried to feel something. I really have. It's not there. If I marry her, I'll be lying to both of us for the rest of my life. Trevor's smile faded, just slightly. So talk to her. Not your dad. Her. Maybe she doesn't even want this either. Brayden didn't know it then, but that one piece of advice would change everything. Not the way he expected. Peyton Marsh already knew what Brayden was going to say before he said it. She'd known it her whole life. Actually, the quiet fear that he'd never look at her the way she looked at him. I don't have romantic feelings for you, Brayden told her. I think our dads can still do business without us getting married. Peyton didn't cry. She didn't yell either. She just looked at him with a kind of calm that scared him more than tears would have. I've loved you since we were kids, Brayden. You just never noticed. I'm leaving for my internship. 6 months. When I come back, I hope you've changed your mind. Because I haven't. She turned and walked away before he could answer. That was the first warning sign. Peyton Marsh did not lose. Not gracefully, and not quietly. And nobody in this story knew yet exactly how far she'd go to win. 2 states away, in a rundown apartment block near a chemical plant, Peyton was hauling suitcases up a broken staircase. She looked rich. She was not supposed to be here. You sure about this place? The neighbor boy asked her. The refinery gives interns better housing than this. I know, Peyton said. I want to try it anyway. What she didn't say, she wanted to know what it felt like to be someone with nothing. Because soon, she'd meet someone who actually was. That someone was a girl named Nadia, and she lived in the room next door, and she was the reason this whole story would end up somewhere nobody expected. Nadia was 17 going on 40. She washed clothes for other tenants. She cooked. She sold snacks on the corner. Every dollar she saved disappeared the second her aunt found it. Where's the money? Aunt Denise snapped the second Nadia stepped through the door. Auntie, I need it for. Shut your mouth. You eat here for free. You sleep here for free. Hand it over. Nadia handed over money that wasn't even hers to lose. This happened every week. Nobody ever stopped it. Peyton watched this happen from the hallway, and something in her chest went cold and sharp at the same time. Let me help you clean up your room, Nadia offered the next morning, forcing a smile. 50,000 won't kill you, and I need it. Deal, Peyton said. And that was the beginning of a friendship that would later break someone's heart in half. Over the weeks, Peyton learned things about Nadia that made her furious in a quiet, controlled way. Nadia's father had died of a sudden illness, right after taking out a loan to grow his business. Nadia went to live with her aunt after that. The aunt stole from her constantly. The aunt's son, a lazy thief named Jackson, stole from her too. Only the aunt's daughter, a girl named Brooke, ever showed Nadia kindness, sneaking her food, defending her, hating what her own mother had become. Why don't you just leave? Brooke asked her once. Where would I go? Nadia said. I'm still saving. One day I'll have enough for my own restaurant. That's the dream. Peyton didn't say anything that day. She just went to the bank the following week and opened an account in Nadia's name. 475,000, Nadia whispered, staring at the screen. I didn't even know I had saved that much. You did that, Peyton told her. Not me. I just made sure nobody could steal it from you again. Nadia hugged her so tight it nearly knocked the wind out of both of them. Neither girl knew this was the last easy, uncomplicated moment they would ever share. Back home, Mr. Cole collapsed at his desk. Minor heart attack, the doctor told Brayden in the hallway. Caught early. But stress is going to kill him if it happens again. He needs to slow down. No more fighting. Brayden stood outside his father's hospital room and made a decision that would trap 3 people in a house they didn't want to be in. Dad, I'll marry Peyton. No, son. Don't do this because of me. I've already lost Mom. I'm not losing you too. Mr. Cole's eyes filled with tears. He didn't argue again. The wedding happened fast. Too fast for anyone to really process it. Welcome to my home, Brayden told Peyton in the entryway, formal as a stranger. I hope the next 2 years our fathers arranged for us go peacefully. Wait, Peyton said, staring at the second bedroom door. We're not staying in the same room. No, we won't. She swallowed the hurt and smiled anyway. Fine, but I'm not giving up. I'm going to fight for this, even if you won't. Brayden left the next morning before sunrise and came home after Peyton was already asleep. He did this for 2 straight weeks. Breakfast untouched, dinner untouched, a wife slowly disappearing in her own home, and a husband treating silence like a shield. This is the moment where the reader is supposed to hate Brayden. Cold, cruel, distant. They are wrong, and they won't find out why for a long time. Peyton called Trevor in tears one night. He won't even look at me. I don't know what to do anymore. Get a maid, Trevor suggested. Someone neutral. Someone who cooks so he doesn't have an excuse to avoid the house. Peyton knew exactly who to call. She hadn't planned it. Fate had. Nadia? It's Peyton. I have a job for you. It comes with a place to live. Nadia had just been thrown out of her aunt's house that same week, caught with stolen money her cousin Jackson had actually taken. She had nowhere to sleep and no plan for tomorrow. I'll take it, Nadia said instantly. I'll take anything. She had no idea whose house she was walking into. Wow. Peyton, this is your house. Technically my husband's house. Nadia didn't ask more questions. She unpacked in the small guest room, grateful and exhausted. And the next morning, she made breakfast before anyone even asked her to. A man walked into the kitchen. Tall, tired eyes, distracted. Who are you again? Nadia, the new housekeeper. Peyton hired me. Right? My bad. He grabbed his keys. I'm running late. Save me a plate for dinner. He came home that night. On time. For the first time in 3 weeks. Peyton noticed immediately, and something inside her lit up with hope. He came home. Because of the food. Nobody in that house understood, yet that food was never really the reason. Weeks passed. Dinners became routine. Brayden started leaving work earlier, not because of the food, but because he wanted to be in the room where Nadia was. One afternoon, he offered her a ride to the market. Tell me about yourself, he said, gripping the wheel a little too tightly. There's nothing interesting about me. Try me. So she told him. About her father, the school principal who dreamed of a small business empire and never got to build it. About the loan he took out before he got sick. About the aunt who stole from her for 5 straight years. About the restaurant she still dreamed of owning even when she had every reason to stop dreaming. Brayden pulled the car over. He didn't mean to. His hand moved before his brain caught up. A hug, then a kiss on her forehead, gentle and terrified and completely unplanned. Nadia froze. What are you doing? I don't know, he whispered. I'm sorry. I don't know what just happened. But something had happened. And it couldn't be undone. Nadia avoided Brayden for days. Skipped dinner. Made excuses. Peyton noticed the shift in the house. The tension, the silence. The way 2 people who used to laugh in the kitchen now couldn't look at each other. She had a friend, someone she trusted completely, someone who had been her shoulder through everything. Bella, I think I've lost him. Peyton confessed on the phone, sobbing. I finally understand what he looks like when he's in love. And it's not with me. Her friend's voice turned cold, almost gleeful. Throw that girl out tonight. She hasn't done anything wrong. Take charge of your home, Peyton. Don't be weak. This friend, the one who had pushed Peyton to hire a maid in the first place, the one clapping the loudest for chaos. This was the betrayal. Not loud, not dramatic, just a quiet voice pushing a broken heart toward cruelty instead of truth. Peyton almost listened. She almost let bitterness win. She didn't. And that single choice would save every relationship in this story. Peyton stood outside Nadia's door that night and said nothing. She just stared at the small gap of light underneath it for a long, long time. Then she walked away. No confrontation. No scene. Just a woman, alone in a hallway, finally admitting to herself what she had known for weeks and refused to say out loud. He was never going to love me. Peyton left town for a business trip that wasn't real. She left Nadia in charge of Brayden's birthday, of all things. A final, quiet gift disguised as a chore. Nadia baked the cake, set the table, wore the dress he'd once bought her and she'd once refused. "Happy birthday," she said, holding back everything she felt. Later that night, Brayden knocked on her door. "Nadia, please, let's talk. Go away. I can't help how I feel about you. I think about you all day. I come home early just because I know you're here. Nadia, I love you. You're married, Brayden. When Peyton comes back, I'm ending it. I'm asking for a divorce. Don't do that on my account. I'm not giving up on you," he said through the door, voice breaking. "I'm not giving up." Nadia sat on the floor of her room and cried in complete silence, because the only decision left to make was one that would break someone's heart no matter what she chose. By morning, she was gone. "Dear Peyton, I'm sorry I left like a thief in the night. You welcomed me. You trusted me. That's exactly why I had to leave, because staying would have meant betraying you, and you never deserved that. Please forgive me. Take care of yourself. Nadia." Brayden found the letter first. Then Peyton, standing in the doorway, watching his face fall apart. "She's gone," he said. "Did something happen while I was away?" Peyton already knew the answer. She'd known for weeks. "I love her," Brayden admitted. Finally, fully, no more hiding. "I do." Peyton didn't scream. She didn't cry in front of him, not this time. "I know," she said quietly. "I've known since the day you started coming home for dinner. I forced this marriage, Brayden. I forced my dad to make it happen because I loved you since we were kids, and I thought if you just got to know me, you'd feel it too. But you never did. And watching someone else get everything I fought for without even trying. That was the moment I finally understood. Peyton, I'm ending this marriage. I'm going home. I'm going to help you find her, and then I'm going to let you go." There it was. The irreversible choice. No safe outcome. No version of this where Peyton kept fighting and it turned out fine. She chose to let go of the one thing she'd spent her whole life chasing, and there was no walking that back. Brayden searched everywhere. Every city. Every number that used to work and didn't anymore. His father drank more than he should have, watching his son fall apart the exact way he'd feared. "I did this," Mr. Cole said one night, holding his son's shoulder. "I forced this marriage. I'm the reason you lost her twice. It's not your fault, Dad. I'll find her." He didn't. Not for 2.5 years. Peyton walked into a small restaurant one afternoon, checking her phone, not paying attention to the woman behind the counter asking a chef about food cost percentages. 28%, ma'am. Keeping it under 30 without cutting portions. Peyton looked up. "Nadia." "Peyton." They sat together, stunned, laughing, crying a little. "You own this place?" Peyton asked. "I do. All because of you. The bank account, believing in me when nobody else did." "How's your husband?" Nadia asked, careful. "Brayden was never my husband. Not really," Peyton said. "We ended it the same week you left. It was never going to work, with you in the picture or without you. He's been looking for you this entire time, Nadia. 2.5 years. That was the twist nobody saw coming. Peyton hadn't lost anything that day in the hallway. She'd already let it go before she ever knocked. And the woman everyone assumed was the villain of this story, the wife pushed toward jealousy and revenge, had spent 2.5 years quietly making sure the two people she loved most got their happy ending, even if it wasn't with her. At the hospital that same week, Nadia sat beside her aunt's bed. Aunt Denise, sick and small in a way she'd never let herself look before, gripped Nadia's hand. "I was cruel to you. You had done nothing to deserve it. And still, you grew up better than I ever was." "I forgave you a long time ago," Nadia said. "You're going to get better." She paid every bill. She put Brooke back in school. She never once said you owe me nothing. She simply acted like it was true. Brayden found the restaurant by accident, following a rumor a mutual friend had mentioned in passing. He stood in the doorway for almost a full minute before she noticed him. "Is this really you?" he whispered. "It's me. You just disappeared. Did you hate me that much?" "Hate?" Nadia's voice cracked. "Do you know how much it took to walk away from you? That was the hardest thing I've ever done. Are you single? What do you think? Is there room in your life for me? If you would have me," she said, "I'd be the happiest person alive." They sat together that night, the restaurant empty, the chairs stacked, the city lights outside doing all the talking neither of them needed to do. All this time, Nadia said. I thought Peyton and Brayden were supposed to be together forever. Turns out their whole purpose in each other's lives was just to lead us back to each other. Brayden reached across the table and took her hand. Nadia, marry me. Yes, she whispered. Yes. Across town, Peyton sat across from Trevor at a different table, in a different restaurant, laughing at something small and unimportant for the first time in years, because it turned out someone had loved her quietly the entire time, and she'd simply never looked his way. Two couples, two tables, one story that finally ended the way it was always supposed to. But somewhere, in a small apartment that used to smell like fear instead of food, a 17-year-old girl had once promised herself a restaurant of her own, never once imagining that the same dream would also hand her the man who spent 2.5 years refusing to stop looking for her. She got both. Not everyone does.